All right, guys, welcome to Glass Culture Podcast, episode 6. That's right, we've been at this for 6 episodes so far, and welcome to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and all that good stuff. My name is Dan.
I'm Jay.
And welcome, guys. Cue the intro.
It looks like we found ourselves another mystery.
That still excites me watching the intro. I know you like the intro as well, so I still like watching it and dancing along to myself. And Jay, how have you been?
I've been good, man. Just been on the down low, man. Bit of R&R, just relaxing and just kind of like staying out of the news, but just still keeping my toes in there, sort of thing.
Well, yeah. I mean, for those who don't know, we record these on Sunday night. So we kind of record this in the tail end of the weekend. So we kind of have 1.5 days of just nice rest, relax, and family time before we jump into the harsh world of news and Twitter and all that kind of crazy stuff. And there's been a couple of interesting things happening. And a couple of cool revelations from previous episodes that have come full circle again. Did you want to start us off with some banking updates?
There's been another bank collapse.
Another one
in America. The Bank of Republic, I think it is.
Yep.
From memory. Just goes to show, as I was saying, that these banks do fractional reserve. And they don't have your money, and when people ask for their money, they can't pay it up, and they basically have to go bankrupt. Also, an interesting thing that I've been hearing is that a lot of people have been saying, "Oh yeah, but the banks are covered by insurance up to $250,000." But who has that kind of money in their bank?
Mm.
And you know what? Very well, like that is true. But the insurance company itself, they only have so much reserves, and the more banks that go under, the more those reserves dissipate. So soon they actually won't have the reserves to honor those insurance. So that's possibly a bit of a scare thing there. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. You know, there's only so much that they can do to protect the, I guess you could call it the consumer, the the everyday person who has money in there, before they literally just have to call that quits. So another one bites the dust, and I don't really know when it's going to end. I don't know if you have any insight on when it's going to end, but it's probably going to be ongoing for a little while. I would imagine.
Yeah, definitely. Probably, as you see, the R word is now being thrown around quite a lot, which is the recession word.
Yep.
And they're finally starting to admit that we're in a recession, which I've been saying for like at least the last year that we've been in a recession. And telling family and friends to, pull back on the drawstrings, like purse strings, and start organizing and preparing for inflation and their mortgages, get that in order and everything like that. So yeah.
Well, yeah, you've said it on this podcast, I think 2 or 3 times. So people probably should have a bit of an idea of what's happening in the real world, and that's just one real world scenario that hits home around the entire planet instead of just localized in one country, unfortunately. So yeah, I guess everyone should probably take heed of your advice, and I should probably actually do that as well, and actually look at finances and things like that. I've actually got to do my own refinancing, so that'll be fun to do shortly, and I'll have to bug you about that when the time comes.
Not financial advice, mate. Go see a professional.
I'm going to ask you, and you're going to do the same thing that you said. We've covered this as well on the podcast. every time I ask you about financial advice, you say, be prepared to lose any money that you put anywhere. So whatever money you put somewhere, be prepared to lose it. So yeah, I'll have to go see a professional probably for a few things, including money.
You can even go broke putting money in the bank.
Well, thanks. Maybe I'll just do it like everyone's grandfathers used to do and just dig holes in the backyard and just bury it out there.
Yeah, but then you got inflation, right? So then it's worth less.
And no one's going to find it.
No.
No. Oh man, money. Speaking of money, I wanted to cover this. I know we wanted to cover it when it first kind of hit. It was kind of hitting in the last couple of weeks. The Bud Light beer scenario in America, coming from parent company Anheuser-Busch, who own Bud Light and a variety of different beers around the world. You've obviously seen this. We've had a bit of a laugh at this situation, but what's your take on the Bud Light controversy with the advertising strategy they've put forward with the transgender activist Dylan Mulvaney?
I think it's like a last-ditch effort for attention for the company, to get some eyes on the company. I think it's disgusting that, we're propping up these, people that want to be women. I think he even got another makeup deal or sponsor.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't agree with it. I don't think it should be sponsored and shown around by these reputable companies. And if these reputable companies want to take part in this, then I think that's when the majority of us, which is the consumer, needs to unfortunately start paying with our wallets, sort of thing, and just not supporting these companies.
Yeah, I guess people are putting their foot down. There's been reports of Bud Light. I don't know, the NFL people saying that the Bud Light stand was pretty barren. There wasn't very many people there compared with their competitors. Bud Light have dropped on certain spots. I think 40% of sales. They've dropped billions of dollars in actual share prices as well. People are voting with their wallet. I've got to say, look, whatever you want to say about, the transgender people and everything like that, I think Dylan Mulvaney's more, I'm not sure if you've seen any of his videos, but he's more like a character. I don't think he's the real deal. I don't think he's really transgender. I think he's playing a character for clout. And I think his management, who are getting all of these brand deals, I think his management team, they're making him a lot of money. He must have the best advertising agency in the world, because he's constantly getting out there and he's got Nike, he's got like, what is it, like Ulta Beauty, MAC, CeraVe, never heard of these brands, but women would have. But he's making bank on this, and he's just running. He doesn't care about you and neither the companies. He's just there to try to make money. He's on to the next one. That's how I think
reported. I think it's already reported that it was over $1 million in revenue that he's made.
Yep. He's also been the face of Maybelline as well, who obviously make feminine makeup products as well. And obviously, it's pretty obvious that most women have different skin, different everything to men. So it probably wouldn't really sit too well for a woman trying to make a purchasing decision when it seems like the company isn't actually even trying to cater to them in any way whatsoever. Same with Nike. They've got a line of women's wear, which he's being paid to model right now, which is the strangest thing on earth to me. All right, and this one here is troubling. We actually had to pause the video just then just to kind of discuss how we're going to broach this topic, because it's a very serious, disgusting topic. But there has been a report of a 3-year-old girl sold for $19, basically traded for crack cocaine because of her mother's crack cocaine addiction. Later on, the young girl was sexually assaulted, the absolute worst thing that anyone can do to another human, to a child in particular, and then was unfortunately, ended, by the perpetrator after the deal had gone by, and it's absolutely disgusting, horrible to see. What are your thoughts on this, Jay?
I think the laws need to be tougher. I mean, as shocking as it is, this kind of stuff does happen, quite a bit around the world. Drug addiction is terrible. It ruins families, it ruins people, it ruins lives, and it ruins other people. And then when you bring kids into it as well, it's very unfortunate.
It's disgusting. I brought up some of the article here. It's claimed that the mum who traded has eight children, and has allowed her daughters to be abused by men in the past for drugs as well, which just adds to the disgrace of it all. I would say take the kids away. This woman does not deserve children, at all. She should be put through the harshest penalties that they can, for someone like this, as well as obviously the people who did this to the young girl herself. Obviously, they need to be punished as well. But I think the mum needs to be punished just as badly, because she is a huge part of this problem. She put the child in harm's way, which I think is just as disgusting.
I think there was actually CCTV footage of the perpetrator and the young girl going down a path to an abandoned house where it all took place. And so they've definitely got the evidence. I'm not sure if they've caught him yet, but they have the mother. Again, it's
it's one of
for
those
anyone
things.
that's a parent and that out there can really, feel for this.
It's disgusting, just absolutely disgusting and horrible to see. Basically a human life betrayed by their own mother, who they basically are there to.
And the law, because the system is broken. The system would have already known about her and about the problem that she's going through and all these kids and all this stuff, and she would have been in and out of jail and all this kind of stuff, and they continue to fail in that system. So
the children should have been taken a lot earlier, which is really, really sad. A really really hard read.
Bring me on to something lighter now, eh?
Yeah.
So what do you think the agenda is with all the news that's been dropping around the world? How it's just one thing after another, and then it's another, and then it's Andrew Tate being arrested, then it's something else, then it's the North Street pipeline has been blown up, and then it's something in Iraq, then it's something with Russia, then it's the transgender, then it's back to this, then it's over this, and then it's a spy balloon, and then it's something else.
I think
What's your theory on this?
I think they're distracting us from something. I think I've my personal thought. I think this is something I've told you about, my little conspiracy theory. Are you ready for this again?
Spit it.
You've heard this like every single day. But I think they're distracting us from the Epstein list myself. There we go. I've said it. Basically, I think every single distraction is out there to deliberately keep you thinking about something else. Because what you'll notice is every single time something else dies down, people start talking about the Epstein list again and again, because they're not going to let it go, because they want to know if Tom Hanks is on it. They want to know if Jim Carrey's on it. They want to know if politicians are on it. They want to know if Joe Biden, Hunter Biden, Donald Trump. They want to know if all these people are on this list. And the only way they can get us to not think about it is by distracting us with this, that, and the other. And right now they're trying to also legalize. They're trying to literally reclassify pedophilia and people being attracted to children. They're trying to reclassify that as the same kind of thing as just being, I was born this way. They're just trying to say, I was born and being attracted to children. I was born being attracted to another man, or whatever it might be. They're trying to reclassify that because they want to legalize that as quickly as possible, because there are so many people that are on this list. They need to as quickly as possible, they need to make it the new norm to be attracted to children. Then the list will come out, and then you will see a whole bunch of celebrities, politicians, influencers of the world, politics, not just Instagram influencers, that will actually be on the list. That's my That's my little spiel right there. That's my conspiracy theory. Thoughts?
It's not bad. I like it. I think it's distract, divide, save you from it, and conquer.
Yeah.
So I think it is more or less divide everyone up, cause chaos and problems. Everyone starts freaking out. Then they come in like the shining light, e.g., the government.
Mm-hmm.
They'll save you and save everyone, and get everything back together and look like the hero, and then we're all happy again, and we all move forward again.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, yeah, definitely right. They're distracting and conquering, and they're keeping the mindless sheep in their lane basically while they work on.
Just be a good citizen. Go to work, pay your taxes.
Yep.
That's it.
Well, that's how
Work
they
and
get
pay
you.
taxes. That's all they want from you. Is just
They get you from a kid, don't
yeah,
they?
yeah.
Go to school, follow the system, learn how to do a job.
Get
After
get
school.
a get a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 mortgage,
Mm-hmm.
which ends up costing you $800,000, $900,000 once over the 30 years interest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
And that's why some of the most. That's why some of the most. How to say it? Some of the most influential and rich people in the world flunked
Entrepreneurs.
out of school, or they didn't
They're
even go to school.
entrepreneurs.
Yeah, exactly. They just did
They
their own
know
thing.
they know how money works. They understand the system. They understand how it's rigged. They understand everything about the game, which is that
Yeah,
money is pretty much worthless, and that debt and everything is the way the world works.
which is unfortunate, but yeah, they're keeping the sheep locked down. For example, they've started talking about UFOs all of a sudden. Like, when was the last time UFOs were relevant?
80s, 70s.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's come to the conclusion, hey, there are UFOs out there. Cool. Everyone knows that now. It's been a thing for 50 years at least, but now the government come out and admit it to us all when everyone already knows. I think that's another huge distraction, which they've been using.
Another distraction is I think that we could be the aliens. I've said this before as well.
What do you mean? Enlighten me.
That we actually came from another planet. So we are planet movers. So like we had basically come here. We were advanced, rebuilt population on this non-existent Earth that was here. That was just kind of habitable that we saw from another planet because ours was basically going under, and then like obviously a catastrophic event happened. We lost half of civilization. We lost a lot of those people that were in charge and a lot of the artifacts and everything on how to keep and sustain. And we had to start all over again. And here we are now. And now we're building up to the level of technology now where we're looking to go to another planet because ours will eventually be no longer habitable. So that's why Elon is now pushing to go to Mars. Get that habitable, get that going. This isn't going to happen overnight, but you know what I mean? And then, maybe 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 years, I don't know how long in the future. And then obviously this Earth kind of goes. We have another population that goes over in Mars and sets that up. And then all of a sudden Mars is like the new Earth.
I like it. I mean, it kind of. Does it kind of make sense? I think it kind of makes sense.
Just a theory.
Yeah, well, that's
No
the thing.
evidence backed on it. No
all
evidence
these are
backed on it.
theories, aren't they?
Just a fun theory.
Yeah, I do like it. I mean, most conspiracy theories. Well, the crazy thing is, when you see all these conspiracy theories come true, that's when it's like, holy crap! When the craziest, most BS conspiracy theory comes true, then you're you're open to any conspiracy theory being true, and that's when people
Okay.
start to use their mind.
Was the moon landing real or fake? Honest opinion.
I think it was fake.
I do
What do you
too.
think?
I do too.
Yeah, I think they were trying to beat Soviet Union. I think that was who they were against back then
Yeah.
to get there, and I think they faked it, just in order to shut it down, say they won that race, and move on to the next thing. Because that was also during the time of the Cold War as well. So they were really arch rivals at that point. They just needed to get one over them and have the American people be happy and satisfied that we got a victory, or sorry, the Western
Yeah.
countries got a victory over, the evil, Russians.
And not saying that we have never been there, because I mean, possibly we may have gone there later after that. But the initial first one, I think, no.
Yeah, I
But
think
I
the
think it's
first one, no.
plausible that we've been since.
Mm. Well, think about it. If we have been there, legit, in the freaking 1960s, why the hell are we still driving the cars that we're driving today?
I mean, Jetson says that we should be in flying cars.
That's right.
Or Back to the Future, we should be on those hoverboard things.
Well, where's my hoverboard? All right.
So, how do you feel about Donald Trump running for president? And also, part two to that question is, how do you feel about Joe Biden announcing that he's going to rerun?
Oh wow. Okay. I think Donald Trump the first time around surprised everybody when he first was actually the guy. I was confused and I was like, why is this billionaire now the president of one of the biggest countries on earth, the actual biggest powerhouse country? And then he actually surprised me because he seemed to be this big, powerful, domineering character that could walk into a room with Putin and freaking Kim Jong Il and actually lead the conversation and kind of take over and overpower them. So I think he proved a lot of people wrong because he was able to. He was like a bull in a china shop, for example. He was just this big, stoic, powerful figure. And I think Joe Biden has already proven that he's the complete opposite. He'll walk into a room and be laughed at. He'll walk into a room and tremble his words and stumble his words out. He has no confidence whatsoever, no power. And if you're the biggest, most powerful country on earth, you need to have a confident leader. Can you imagine me, with the amount that I stutter and stumble over words sometimes, having to get up in front of an entire nation and talk? Joe Biden seems completely out of his depth in this field. And to top that all off, he's got the controversies with his son. He's got ties to basically Ukraine and ties to all these shady businesses with all his family. And I think that's probably going to be his undoing in the upcoming election. So I don't really know how they're going to fare against each other, but I think it would be a mistake to re-elect the pre-existing oldest president in history to then make him the newest oldest president in history. I think he's only going to become more and more frail.
I think definitely that we do a terrible job of leaving, even in Australia, we leave people in power for too long. Not too long, but their age. So we'll have people, 65, 70, 80, 90. They're still in these high positions and high jobs around all industries, and they lose touch with the common people, their thoughts, their processes, their way of thinking. I mean, we can even look at that at our work, when we have older people that they've had a system, they've had a way that they've always done things, and it's worked. And at one stage, it was the best way to do something. But as times have changed, things have evolved. Different things have come along. Us younger people have cut corners and done this and done that, and being able to innovate and use different technologies to go, hey, we can use internet now. We don't have to use an old fax machine. Oh no, that's not how we do it. You know what I mean? Like the yeah. So I mean, particularly with the president. I know Donald Trump is actually pretty old himself, but he doesn't act like it. He doesn't seem like it. He um, is a very a businessman, so he is always looking and striving for the next best thing, as opposed to someone else that you know has been stuck in their ways and the way that they like to do things.
Well, yeah. I mean, Joe Biden's been around in the politics game for, I think, like 60 years. I mean, when you think about it, politics is a sit down job for the most part. It's you wear a suit, you sit down. For the most part, you're not physically doing laborious work. And I think that's why a lot of these guys stay in until they're so old, because it's all they know, and they're not physically worn down from doing hard labor, and work like that. So what's the point of retiring for them? Because their bodies aren't worn down. They've been sitting half their life, maybe walking to and fro, maybe getting on a bus and being carted around while they go and wave to people and talk at a podium. But really, these guys can physically just sit in a chair for the majority of their working life and not really feel the physical pressure of, a hard day's real work.
It still amazes me that when you think about it, there's probably like 100 people around the world that control the world.
Yeah.
100 people have control over 100 billion people, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, this small elite group can pass and do whatever laws and whatever they say. You know what I mean? Pretty much goes. It's kind of, yeah.
Well, when you sit back and think about it, everything that you do in your entire life comes down to one of the top 0.0000001% of anyone else, of somebody on Earth that has made a decision to affect something which has affected everything else and has kind of come down to affect you. This isn't 5 people away from you that something's actually happened. This is something which has pretty much come from the 2 global companies that own everything in the entire world.
Well, I think Donald Trump did say that he will no longer fund or support schools that participate in transgender pushing on kids, or something like that. I can't remember the exact wording of it, so don't quote me on that word. But it was something along those lines, and I think, yeah, congratulations, good on him. Like, I mean, again, we have a school system to teach kids about, life endeavors for work. You know what I mean? To get better at work, not about different religions and different ideologies and stuff like that. Like, yeah, so.
Well, yeah, you're not at school to, learn about the Lord. You're at school to learn how to do maths, how to do this, how to write, how to do just simple life things. And although that falls into the greater plan of being just a slave to the man, when you kind of come out and just have to go and do just a dead-end job somewhere, you're still just too young to decide that I'm a girl today, and then have somebody decide, yeah, we're going to cut you up and turn you into a girl.
So do you think Biden will win, or do you think Trump will win?
My gut says Trump.
Will he make America great again?
I always
again.
I always thought from the get-go that's like the dumbest phrase that they could have used.
Again.
The merch was stupid, just a red hat with like basically, I mean, I could make that. We could have hats next week which look like that. But, like, it's the dumbest phrase. But then again, you know what? I couldn't tell you any other politician's phrase, catchphrase, marketing phrase, whatever you want to call it. I couldn't tell you anyone else's. So it's memorable, at least.
I can.
Whose?
Kevin 07. Come on. Off the top of my head, that wasn't bad.
When you say Kevin 07, I picture some dude doing like a shoey off like the back of a ute or something like that. Like, that's the campaign that he would be running.
That's what we have in Australia, people. For
Yeah.
those that didn't actually get the joke, that was our Prime Minister.
That's how we elect them.
Yeah, he had a campaign where it was Kevin 07.
Yeah, and he had to win by doing as many shoeys off the back of a ute, which he could. So,
No, he did not.
no. But in Australia, it seems like if your party doesn't like you as a prime minister, they oust you, backstab you, another person comes in, and I think they did that.
Flip flops. It just flip flops. We kind of go nowhere here. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we're like a hamster on one of those hamster wheels.
Yeah.
Where like we're running, and then we're like, oh yeah, no, this isn't working, and we get off, and then we seem to get on another hamster wheel the other way.
Well,
we
yeah.
just spinning our wheel. We're not going anywhere because we
You
keep
vote for
kicking
someone-
one out. One spends all this money does one thing, builds half of it in implementation, and then decides, oh, no, and then we don't like them, so we kick them out, put a new party in, and they go, oh well, we're gonna have to demolish that and start what we want to do, and it just
Instead of having 4 years, you've basically got somebody for 1 year. And then the guy that they kept around for his full term, Scott Morrison, I think the longest to the full term, they only were forced to do that because of COVID. They couldn't get enough people to go and vote because of COVID. So he was kind of just lucky to be there, and everyone hated the guy.
You know, he would have actually stayed in if he didn't actually mandate. If they didn't do the forcing of the vaccinations, then I think he would have stayed in. I think
people
I
would
think
have
everyone
seen.
was just so sick of being locked down, being forced to do something, that the health system was over crisis, and we're like, yeah, we need something different. And the other opposition is like, yeah, I'm going to fix the health system. And he's come in and he hasn't fixed the health system. I mean, the only thing that's happened is that not everyone is sick at the moment with the flu and everything like that. So the hospital system's been a lot better in that regard, but it is still crazy and overflooded, and they're still worn down, still underpaid. So will that ever change? I believe that they don't want to fix it.
Well, no.
They kind of want it underperforming. They don't want it like a well-oiled screw, because they, I don't want to go too much on it because it's my own personal beliefs and thing, but I believe that they run it just below average for a particular reason, and it will never change.
Well, yeah, they need something to fix constantly because they need to constantly tell you they're fixing something.
Good way to look at it.
In my opinion, they need something as like almost like a bartering chip for the Australian public. That we're still working to. We need your support to do this, blah blah blah, and then that's what they're gonna basically do.
Okay, so now that because this just popped into my head now. Now that the mandates have all stopped, all restrictions for COVID and all that kind of stuff is all lifted here in Australia. I have seen that Biden has still said that anyone that enters the US must have their up-to-date vaccines and all that implemented and stamped and all that kind of stuff.
Really?
Do you think that is good for them?
Well, look, here's one way to look at it. Although we can debate how COVID started and everything like that. It all doesn't matter. It's arbitrary because it's here now, and I guess. But people are dying from it still. And I think the way that the Americans have to think is they don't have, they have so many more people that maybe the way they're thinking is we have so many people here already. Like there's there's not billions, but there's hundreds of millions of people there. So for them, like an outbreak is like a lot more than like it is in Australia. Australia's only got like 20 million people. Is that how they may be thinking? Is that what they're trying to think? I mean, I know it sounds silly.
I think it's just because all the companies are American.
Pfizer's American, Moderna's American. They need their money.
Either that, and they have a lot of financial gain and everything from it.
Well, yeah, because then they've probably made billions. I mean, if you were an investor in Pfizer before this happened, you'd be very happy.
A lot of the top governments and officials and all that, even our politician was
Morrison.
I don't know which one, but they had shares and stuff like that in. Yeah,
that sounds like an invested interest to me. And obviously, I just took a stab in the dark when I said Morrison. I don't actually know that, but it's like that. I think there's Nancy Pelosi. It's been proven that she has had a real convenient track record.
Insider trading, yeah.
Yeah, insider trading, yeah.
That's illegal.
Well, especially when you're in a position where you're literally...
Yeah, you get special allowance because you're on the right side.
Well, yeah, and anything she says could potentially affect the market. So, it's like Elon Musk was told to step down from his position because anything he said would affect the stock price of his product.
I do think it's funny that he even just mentions or wears something with Dogecoin and it goes up.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know if everyone saw, because I don't know if everyone goes on Twitter, but he actually changed the logo of Twitter, which is the bird. He changed it to the symbol of Dogecoin for everyone for I think it was a few days. I think it was, and everyone was going crazy.
Like, just imagine having that much money that you can do that for just like a joke.
I know.
And not really care. He probably hasn't even got any shares in Dogecoin. He wouldn't care to, I would imagine.
He actually quite likes it. For the simple fact is that it's just he likes the idea of it, that it's just, financial freedom. It was created as a joke. But yeah, there's so many people out there that have it. Do you know what I mean? Like a community of people. He likes that there's a community of people that believe in it. You know what I mean? It doesn't do anything, but that he likes that. Kind of camaraderie, I guess.
Well, yeah, because there's those people that spent $50 on it like 6 or 7 or 8 years ago.
Would have made good coin.
And there would have been that period where they would have made a decent amount of money off of that. Lucky bastards. Alright guys, thank you very much for tuning in to GCP 6. Thank you for everyone for your support so far. Don't forget to subscribe to us. We're on Rumble, Spotify, and obviously YouTube podcasts as well. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram as well. That's where we put the clips, and you can engage with us on Twitter a little bit easier as well. As always, thank you very much, guys. My name's Dan.
And I'm Jay.
And see you next time.